All right, 12, find the experimental probability of spinning green. Well, let's figure out how many experiments we had here. So 11 plus 9 is 20. It looks like we got 30 total, so that's obviously going to be important. The experimental probability of spinning green is 10 out of 30. Now, this is experimental because they performed the experiment and these are the results, okay? So that's different than the theoretical probability. Where theoretical probability, we'd have to know like how the areas of these four colors are actually on the spinner. Like maybe red is a little larger, so we have to like get that probability. But that's not what's going to be asked on your exam. Okay. So 10 out of 30 is fine. That's 30%. Okay. Find the experimental probability of spinning yellow or red. So remember the keyword or means that we're going to add those two. So 7 and 9 is going to be 16 out of 30, and you can reduce that. What's the experimental probability of not spinning blue? Well, if you got 30 and 4 is blue, then everything else had to be non-blue. So that's going to be 26 out of 30 because you got rid of the blue. Find the experimental probability of spinning green and blue. So now you've got an and. So when that happens, they're basically saying I got two spins now, okay? So spinning green would be 10 out of 30, okay? And then spinning blue would be 4 out of 30. Now the reason why it's out of 30 and not 29 is because it's a spinner. Like the second event is not influenced by the spinning of the first event, okay? Likewise, if you were rolling die, all of that, the die is not, the second event is not influenced by the first event. So 10 times 4 is 40. This is going to be 900. So that would be 4 out of 90. So we're talking about 4%. So about 4%. Let's put that little roughly 4%. So pretty small then, and that makes sense because spinning a blue is going to be a small probability. Find the experimental probability of spinning a red, green, or blue. So now we're going to add all of those together. And really what we're asking is, what is the probability of not yellow, right? So not yellow is essentially 23 out of 30. Okay, so these aren't hard. Looks like it's about 77%. Okay, you just got to be careful. Let's go ahead and do 17. Classes at a music studio include guitar and piano. Enrollment in the classes is shown here. Complete the relative and marginal relative frequency table. Then find the probability that if a student is taking the piano, that they are not taking a guitar. Okay, so we want to find the probability of their not taking the guitar, which we'll put not guitar, given that they're taking piano. Okay. So that's a symbol for not. There's lots of symbols for not. In fact, this is often a symbol for not. It depends on what logic class you're taking, what computer science class you're taking, but it just means not. I'm not going to test you on that. I just want you to figure out the probability. So let's actually go ahead and get these totals, okay? So let's figure out what these guys add up to. Going across, going down, and then we'll figure out what that is, okay? So I'm going to just carefully use my calculator here, and you're going to have to entertain this. 112, 62 plus 26. I don't feel like doing it in my head. I don't know why, but I just don't. That's going to be 200, actually. So going across here better add up to 200. This is going to be 96, and that's going to be 104, okay? So these are going to help us with that. So what is the total of yes for piano? And the total of yes is 112 out of 200. So I'm actually not going to make the probabilities there. I'm going to put that, the fraction, okay? Now it should add up to 100. The no's would be 88 out of 200. And if you were to add those together, it should be 1, right? So over here, I like doing the totals first, okay? Now over here, the total is going to be 62 out of 200, and this would be 96 out of 200, and this would be 104 out of 200, and together they have to add up to 1, okay? and we can figure out those percentages. It looks like that's close to 50%. That's close to 50%. These guys are kind of the same thing. They're kind of in the 50% ranges, okay? But now for a yes, okay, a yes is 34, okay? But 34 out of what? Okay. So here's where you got to be careful, because this is the total, okay? It's not going to be 34 out of 200, is it? Or is it 34 out of 112? What should it be? It is 34 out of 200. And this would be 78 out of 200. Okay. And then this guy would be 62 out of 200 and 26 out of 200. Okay. And you would just figure out that percentage and fill in that table. All right. Cool.